Now for section 3.5, we're going to be looking at how to graph a line or how to write the equation of a line given any point, not necessarily the y-intercept, just any point and the slope. So given that we're going to use the formula, given a point, obviously we're given an x and a y value. I'm going to call this x1, y1. That means the x of the one point, the y of the first point. So given those values, and let's call it m for slope. I'm going to use m for slope. Given that information, we're going to use this formula here. I'm going to go y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So let's take a look at an example. Write an equation for each line given the final answer in slope-intercept form. The line passing to the point -2 forward with the slope of -3. So the way I'm going to write this, I'm going to go y minus, notice I'm going to go minus, my y value is 4. It's equal to, my slope is -3, so that's going to be the outside. And on the inside, I'm going to have x minus, so I'm going to go with the minus, the x value. In this case, -2. So, all right, looking at the left, I can do y minus 4, right? There's nothing I can do. Here, I see parentheses. I'm going to distribute the -3 to the inside. But before I distribute it, minus a negative, two negative signs, I'm going to call that plus before I distribute. I'm going to look at the signs first. Now, let me distribute the -3 to the inside. So I'm going to have -3x minus 6. Right. Once again, I distributed the -3. Now, just to finish this, I want the y by itself, so I'm going to move this -4 to the right side as a +4, right? Don't forget to switch the signs. Notice I put the 4 with the -6. I put it with the like terms. I didn't put it with the one that had an x. I put it with the other one. So I'm going to have that y equals -3x minus 2. Right? Notice I combined those like terms, -6 plus 4. And that is my slope-intercept form, right? My slope is -3, and my y-intercept is -2. Let's take a look at another example. Write an equation of the line passing through the points 3 forward and -2 5. Give the final answer in slope-intercept form and then in standard form. All right, so looking at slope-intercept form, so we don't have a slope to begin with. I'm only given 2 points, but I know we already learned how to do the slope last time in section 3.3, 3.4. We learned how to do the slope. So given this, I'm going to go for the slope. I'm going to write it over here. I'm going to go 5 minus 4 equals -2 minus 3. So 5 minus 4. Remember, there was the second y minus the first y over the second x minus the first x. I know 5 minus 4 is 1, so I can simplify that to 1. -2 minus 3, that's -5. So my slope is going to be, when I simplify it here, it's going to be -1/5. Right, positive divided by negative, my slope is a -1/5. So now I have a slope. Remember, for me to use this section, I need 1 point and I need 1 slope. I have the slope, but I only need 1 point. I have 2 points. To be honest, pick whichever point you want. From the 2 points, pick any of the 2. Just to pick one, I'm going to choose the point 3 forward, and I see that I have a slope. So I'm just going to go y minus the forward, because that's the y value, equals -1/5, and on the inside of parentheses, I'm going to go x minus 3. All right, so let me do the distributive property. I'm going to multiply the -1/5 to the inside. So on the left, y minus 4, there's nothing I can do. On the right side, I have -1/5 x plus 3/5. Right, I just multiply the -1/5 to the inside. Now I'm going to move the -4. I'm going to move it over here as a +4. But instead of just writing a forward, I know I'm going to be dealing with fractions. So instead of just writing a forward, I'm going to write my forward as a fraction as well. But I'm going to make sure my fraction has a 5 at the bottom because I want my denominators to be the same. Once again, I'm going to write forward as a fraction, but I want a 5 to be at the bottom. So for me to know what to write on the top, since this whole thing is forward, I'm just going to go 4 times 5, which is my denominator, and that gives me 20. Like 20 over 5 is forward. I'm just writing my forward as a fraction with the 5 at the denominator. So looking at this, y equals negative 1/5 x. Here, my fractions, I'm going to call this plus 23 over 5. So that's how I have my slope-intercept form. But I noticed that it also says give it in standard form. To begin with, standard form, we should have no fractions. So for slope-intercept form, I'm done. Y equals negative 1/5 x plus 23 over 5. That's the slope-intercept form. Now for standard form, because that's also being asked, we cannot have fractions. So I noticed that on my fractions, there's a 5 at the bottom. So let me get rid of the fractions by multiplying everything by 5. Once again, I'm trying to get the denominator eliminated. So if I multiplied everything by 5 from those things at the bottom, let's see, this froze for a minute. Okay, so multiplied here, everything by 5, you should get 5 wide equals negative 1x plus 23. Once again, once you have the slope-intercept form, I see a 5 at the bottom. I multiplied everything by 5 to get rid of the fractions. Now in standard form, I should have the x and the y on the left side. So my negative x, I'm going to move it to the left side. So I obviously don't forget to switch the sign. So I have positive x plus 5y equals 23. And that's what we call standard form. So there you have your slope-intercept form. There is your standard form. Remember, standard form, you should have no fractions, which we see none. X and y should be on the left side of the equal sign. The one term that has no letters, in this case a 23, on the right side. And my x should be a positive value, which in this case it is. Now looking at this, write an equation of the line passing through the point negative 3, 6. So we have a point that satisfies the given condition. Give final answer in slope-intercept form. My first condition is it has to be parallel to the line 2x plus 3y equals 6. Before I forget, let's write the point that we have is negative 3, 6. Let me not forget that one. So here has to be parallel to this line. This equation was given to me in standard form, so I'm going to switch it to slope-intercept form. So to begin with, let me copy it. 2x plus 3y equals 6. I'm going to move the 2x to the right side. So I have 3y equals negative 2x plus 6. Now divide everything by 3. So I have y equals negative 2/3 x plus 2. I'm interested in the slope. The slope is negative 2 over 3 because it says parallel. That means use the slope, use the same slope. So we have a slope, we have a point. I'm ready to go. I'm just going to go y minus 6, right? Y minus the y value equals, my slope is negative 2/3. Inside the parentheses, I'm going to have x minus a negative 3. I know minus a negative, that becomes plus, so I'm going to change that to plus. On the left side, once again, I have nothing, y minus 6, that's all I can do. There's nothing else I can do. Let me multiply the negative 2/3 to the inside. So I have negative 2/3 x minus negative 2/3 times positive 3. That gives me negative 2. Now, to finish this, my minus 6, let me move it over here as a plus 6. All right, I'm going to switch the sign. So I have that y equals negative 2/3 x plus 4. All right, now looking at my other example, Here it has to be perpendicular. Remember, it has to go through the point negative 3, 6, but it has to be perpendicular to the line 2x plus 3y equals 6. I'm not going to do this equation again. I already have it, but it says it has to be perpendicular. So the slope that I'm going to use is not exactly the same one. Remember, for perpendicular, we have to do two things: change the sign and do the reciprocal of the numbers. So the slope that I'm going to be using is going to be positive 3 over 2. All right. So once again, I have a point, I have a slope. So I'm just going to go y minus 6 equals 3 halves. And then inside my parentheses, I'm going to have x minus a negative 3. Once again, minus a negative, it's plus. So on the left side, there's not much I'm going to do now, just y minus 6. On the right side, multiply the 3 over 2 to the inside. So I have 3 over 2x plus 9 over 2, right? I'm just multiply those two numbers. Now my negative 6, I'm going to move it as a positive 6 here. But notice I'm dealing with fractions. So once again, I want to have a fraction with the 2 at the bottom because I want my denominators to be the same. Now, once again, this whole fraction is going to be 6, right? Because I'm moving the 6 over. For me to know what to write on top, I'm going to go 6 times 2. So that gives me 12. So now I'm just going to write y equals 3 over 2x plus 21 over 2. And there it is.